Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now, today's video, we are going to be looking and talking about the T62A. And there's a reason why we are going to be talking about the T62A. Now, in yesterday's video, we spoke about DPM. We spoke about, is DPM important? And, you know, the T62 is a tank that is known to have fantastic DPM. But, you know, just because it's got fantastic DPM, it doesn't mean it's going to do that great of damage, like amount of damage. In fact, the T62, and the reason we're showing this, the T62 in tier 10 is currently the lowest average damage tank in tier 10. Like, it's doing the least amount of damage in tier 10. I think it's 1600 damage is the average damage in a tank that is almost top when it comes to DPM. So the DPM is over 3000. Now, we are running with calibrated shells, so you can get that to around about 3300 if you do run it with the rammer. But I would suggest running it with calibrated shells because it does need the penetration. So the turret on the T62 is quite strong. I mean, at 255, it's not impenetrable. There will be tanks that penetrate you. You may get the troll bounce here or there. The same as the hull. The hull's not great. I mean, 140 mil on your hull. So yeah, the hull is actually quite weak. The turret can be quite strong. Now, as I've said, the DPM 3037 with calibrated shells. So pretty decent DPM. That is just a 6.5 second reload. Your penetration is 265 on your AP, 339 on your heat, and 54 on your HE. You've got a 330 alpha gun, 280 on your heat. So again, if you do want to shoot your heat to get the penetration, you are only doing an average of 280 per shot. So you don't want to be shooting your heat if you don't have to. You've got 440 HE pen. Now, your aim time is pretty solid at 3, the same as your gun dispersion, very, very good at 0.277. But you do only have 6 degrees of gun depression, so not too much gun depression really, with a top speed of 55 kilometers per hour. Now, the T62, you know, yes, it's a medium tank. It's more of a brawling tank. It's more of a brawling medium tank. Now, of course, you do have tanks like the E50M, which is a fantastic brawling tank because of the armor, the DPM, and other things that go with it. The speed, the fact that you can ram everybody. Where the T62, for me, is a tank that, yes, it is a brawling tank. It's kind of like a tank where you don't just rush in. You don't just rush in, lose your hit points, trade hit points, you kill them, but you're now a one shot. For me, it's more of a, you know, just sit back a little bit, go with your mediums, sit back a little bit, prey on the weak on the enemy team, bring their hit points down, and then rush in and use your DPM wisely. And that's kind of how I tend to play the tank. Now, again, if there's a couple of you on, so if there's 2 mediums on your team, 2 mediums on the enemy team, you go the mediums, all the heavies go the heavy route. So it's basically a 2 versus 2. This is where the DPM then does become important. And it's not just the DPM that is important, it's also important to work as a team. You know, you and the other medium tank really need to work as a team to be able to clear the enemy team. You know, focus on one tank. If there's a 2 versus 2, don't you go for one tank and the enemy go for one tank. You go for the same tank as your teammate is going for. Like, at least then you can clear them pretty quickly. Yes, you both may lose hit points, but if you share those hit points, then you could then both head over to the other medium tank and hopefully clear him. In hindsight, that is how it should be how it should be done, but it doesn't always go to plan. We know that battles don't always tend to go to plan, just like this battle. Really, it doesn't go to plan. I do the damage, you know, it could have been a better outcome. So I'm at the moment now, this is what I mean about being a medium tank. You don't just always rush in. Now, I could have rushed in to the left side with our guy over there, which is the RHM. So it then would have been me and him versus whoever goes that side of the map. And as you can see, the Foch is there, there's other tanks there as well, and we may have been torn apart. We may have been able to clear it, but you know, I don't know who is there. Now the enemy have one medium, they only have one medium, but sometimes you can't look at that. Sometimes I do. Of course, if I'm the only medium and the enemy hasn't got any mediums, I do tend to go the medium route on my own to try and flank the guys, get around. Again, sometimes it doesn't always go to plan. You think you're going to go around a side of a map that you're going to be on your own, and then you kind of open up the whole enemy team. So it doesn't always go to plan. But yeah, I'm quite surprised about the T62A. I'm not going to lie. You know, Wargaming over the years have gave this tank so much love. They've just buffed it, and yet it is still the lowest average tank, the lowest average damage tank at 1600 damage. Like, so it's received all the love that it's been given, but yet people are still not performing in this tank. So technically speaking, going by stats, you will not be doing damage in the T62A, a tank with fantastic DPM, a tank that's been buffed and buffed over the years, but yet still going by stats, this tank isn't going to get you any damage. Like, it's not going to get you any damage. So if you want to up your average damage, then clearly the T62 isn't the tank to be playing. Now, of course, we are talking statistically speaking, everybody's different. You may go and do 4,000, 5,000 damage every game, but you know, we're going by stats, and that's the only thing we can really do. We can go by stats, and the proof is looking at the stats. So overall, globally, the T62 is not a tank to be doing damage in Blitz. So again, I'm very surprised at it being the T62. I would have thought it would be something like the TVP, which we showed you yesterday, because it's a difficult tank, or the Leopard 1, because again, it's a difficult tank to play. People suffer in these kind of tanks, whereas, you know, people are actually suffering in the T62A. Now, this game so far, I've got 2.5k damage. It's a 3 versus 3. I do manage to get a bounce there from the Super Conqueror, but yeah, it gets a little bit too much. The Type 71 is there as well. You know, these guys have got decent DPMs for heavy tanks. We're losing on supremacy. I can't get around to the A area, and yet, as you can see, I've basically lost all my hit points there. So we are now a one shot. It's a 3 versus 2. Hopefully we can still do this. We can still do this, but the first thing we need to do is to get these caps. Now, I'm ignoring A because I do really want to go, sorry, I was ignoring B because I really wanted to get to A, because, you know, they're almost winning. They almost won the game, and I really needed to get to A to stop them getting these supremacy points. But sadly for me, it wasn't to be. I died, but there is now just one tank left alive. He's now a one shot, and we do manage to get the victory. So fair play to these two guys. They stayed in there and they won us the game. But you know, we still done 4,000 damage. So we are proving stats wrong, that you can still do the damage. But again, we are looking at the stats, and technically speaking, the T62 isn't a tank that does damage. So let me know in the comments below, are you surprised at the T62 being bottom of the pack when it comes to damage being dealt in the battle? But for now, hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye bye.